And the conference over to Mr. Ankur Periwal. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Yeah, hi, good evening, everyone, and thank you, Aisha, for that. Uh, uh, Welcome, everyone, and joining you for Rosari Biotech Limited Q1 FY21 earnings conference call. We have with us Mr. Edward Menzies, promoter and executive chairman, Mr. Sunil Chari, promoter and managing director, and Ms. Mansi Nisal, chief financial officer. We'll begin with the call with the opening remarks from the management, following up which we'll have the forum open for Q&A. Before we start, we'd like to point out that some of the statements made in today's call may be forward-looking in nature, and a disclaimer to this effect has been included in the earnings presentation, which is being shared with you earlier. To invite Mr. Edward for his opening remarks. Over to you, Edward, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I am Edward Menezes here. I warmly welcome you all to Rosari's maiden earnings conference call to discuss the operating and financial performance for the quarter ended June 30th, 2020. I hope you are all doing well and staying safe during these unprecedented times. We too are safe here and in the lockdown situation. As you are all aware, we have successfully completed our initial public offering last month, which, despite challenging macroeconomic conditions, witnessed a strong reception from the investor community. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our shareholders, business partners, and employees for their wholehearted support to our IPO. We have utilized the proceeds towards funding our working capital requirements, prepayment of our loans, and for general corporate purpose. I'm happy to share that post our IPO, we are now a debt-free company. As this is our first time where we are hosting an earnings conference call, I would like to take you through the background of our company, following which Chari will share his thoughts on the business model and operational highlights for this quarter. Back in the year 2003, Chari and I, both career technocrats, with a then cumulative 30 years of experience in specialty chemicals industry, had started a partnership firm in the name of Rosari Labtech. It was later renamed to Rosari Biotech and was converted into a company in 2009. Right from inception, we have undertaken focused efforts towards developing a strong platform based on application development and formulations. Today, Rosari is one of the leading specialty chemicals manufacturers in India, providing intelligent and sustainable solutions to our customers across industries such as FMCG, home and personal care, industrial cleaning, textile specialty chemicals, performance chemicals, animal health and nutrition, and pet care businesses. Over the years, we have developed a differentiated product portfolio for our three main businesses of home, personal care, and performance chemicals, which we call as HPPC, textile specialty chemicals, which is TSC, and animal health and nutrition, which is abbreviated as AHN. Being solution providers, our offerings contribute significantly to the product experience and enhanced utility for our customers. In addition, most of our products are environmentally friendly that undergo sustainable manufacturing processes. Intelligent chemistry is another strong growth propeller for us, and our differentiated solutions are centered on four basic chemistries, which are enzymes, silicones, acrylic chemistry, and surfactants. With deep customer engagements across industries, Rosari is essentially a customer-centric company providing tailor-made solutions backed by the elements of research, agility, sustainability, and operational efficiency. As we look ahead, we are very optimistic about our future growth prospects given our diversified product offerings, our fungible and agile manufacturing establishments, and our ability to constantly innovate and launch diversified products for our customers. With a healthy balance sheet and adequate manufacturing capacity, we believe we are well poised to deliver a sustainable and healthy growth trajectory going forward, and we look forward to the future with even greater enthusiasm. Post our public listing, we have embarked upon a new phase of our journey and it is our endeavor to always have best practices in investor interactions at all times. We look forward to building strong communication channels with you and regularly connect through such forums going forward. With this, I would like to conclude my address and now hand it over to Chari for his comments.
Thank you, Edward. Namaste and good evening, and thank you for joining us on the call. This is Sunil Chari, Managing Director, Rossari Biotech Limited. The month of July 20 was indeed a memorable one with a successful IPO and public listing of our company. We were overwhelmed and humbled, and I would just like to take a moment here and thank all of you and our shareholders for putting your trust in us and giving such a strong response to our IPO. We saw healthy participation coming in from some of the most marquee names in domestic institutional investors, FIIs, and MF categories, and the way we see it, for us, even as shareholders, having one share is equally important. And we believe all minority shareholders are a big responsibility for all of us. On the whole, Rossari has enjoyed a stupendous public listing, and this has only inspired us to further continue our work with greater zeal. Just to share an interesting anecdote around our IPO, even before 2003, in the initial phase of our journey, our first historic milestone, and when we made our first invoice, was on July 23, 1997. And fast forward 23 years now, July 23rd, 2020, Rossari was successfully listed on the stock exchange. Both the dates are the same. So we have, a birthday, which is the same birthday again. Over our journey of this many years, the company has grown exponentially, and today we are one of the leading specialty chemicals manufacturing companies in India with a very strong and well-entrenched network of customers in the domestic markets. Coming to our business, in the HPPC business, our solutions are used across soaps and detergents, paints, inks, coatings, ceramic and tiles, water treatment chemicals, and pulp and paper industries. We also manufacture institutional clean chemical formulations and now are in advanced stages of expanding our product portfolio to water treatment formulations, specialty formulations for breweries as well as dairies. In our TSC business, we provide specialty chemicals for the entire value chain of the textile industry, starting from fiber, yarn to fabric, wet processing, and garden processing. As you all know, textile industry is one of the largest contributors to water, air, as well as solid-waste pollution. Accordingly, our focus is on providing eco-friendly, sustainable chemical solutions to our customers, which either replaces the highly polluting chemicals being used by our customers or reduces the impact of environment pollution by suitably modifying the overall industrial process. We have also diversified into the animals and nutrition business and currently supply poultry feed supplements and additives, pet grooming and pet treats for customers. Overall, all these three businesses are strong growth drivers for us, and the outlook for each business remains positive in the medium to long term. Over the last many years, we have invested in creating a fungible and agile manufacturing infrastructure. Our Silvassa manufacturing facility with an installed capacity of 120,000 metric tons per annum is a highly automated unit with flexible and interchangeable capacities across our three businesses. This enables us to manufacture any of our products at any point of time. With this capability, we were able to showcase a high degree of agility during a challenging quarter. Even though the textile specialty chemicals business was notably impacted during the last quarter, the company was able to manage the situation well by being able to adequately address the sharp increase in demand witnessed in the HPPC business. This was primarily owing to the flexibility we have in our operating model. I'm also happy to share that in the month of July 20, we have successfully commissioned the first phase of our greenfield manufacturing facility at Dahej in Gujarat. This facility, with a proposed installed capacity of 132,500 metric tons per annum, is a state-of-the-art automated unit, bringing higher cost efficiencies and economies of scale. The plant also enjoys proximity to multi-cargo port of Dahej, which provides a cost and logistical advantage for us. It is further encouraging that despite facing challenges owing to COVID-19, our teams were able to make healthy progress by launching the first phase of this facility, and we remain on track to operationalize the plant by March 2021. A combination of intelligent chemistry and R&D has been and continues to be our important growth lever for us. Our R&D capabilities integrate all the three aspects of our products: synthesis, research, formulation, development, and technical service to provide customizable, intelligent, and cost-efficient solutions to our customers in a shorter time frame. We have a dedicated, experienced R&D team operating in our facilities in Silvassa and Mumbai. Strategically located on the IIT campus in Mumbai, our Rosary Center of Excellence is a new state-of-the-art certified R&D laboratory, which is fully equipped with advanced testing and research equipment. Our R&D facilities are core to our operations and enable us to keep pace with the upcoming opportunities. Our focus remains towards identifying and developing new niches in our product portfolio by leveraging our R&D capabilities, and as we move forward, we are also evaluating opportunities to introduce new business lines with distinguished offerings and unique product value. Coming to our customers, we believe one of our key strengths is our direct engagement and touch points with the customer base. Our customer base currently comprises a host of multinational, regional, and local companies, and we have long-term and deep engagements with several of these customers spanning over 15 years. While Rosary teams focus towards demand generation and demand creation across domestic markets, demand servicing is primarily undertaken by a wide and extensive distributor network spread all over India. In the longer term, our aim is towards increasing wallet share across existing customer base, while also tapping new customer segments in the domestic markets. From a raw material standpoint, our dependence on imports in China in particular is less than 10 and 5% of our sales respectively. So we believe we are well insulated from any supply side disruptions in the future. I would also like to highlight that our raw material pricing is not so much dependent on crude oil pricing, and going forward we expect gross margins to remain stable. Coming to the quarter's performance, our quarter one was one of the most challenging quarters we have ever witnessed. Despite unprecedented operating constraints, it is encouraging how we as an organization adapted and efficiently continued operations in the most uncertain of times. Even with that added workload of launching our IPO, our teams have done a fantastic job in managing the situation. During the quarter, your company, as a responsible corporate citizen, Rosary took a decisive action to provide orphanages and others by distributing hygiene product kits, which includes hand sanitizers, disinfectants, and other antiviral products. As we look ahead, we are hopeful that the demand scenario across the country will gradually improve. In the month of June and July, we have seen a healthy uptick in demand across our three businesses. Our customer engagements continue to be solid, and our wallet share across accounts has remained stable. On the whole, we are confident of our future growth potential and opportunities across the domestic market over the medium to longer term. And we look forward to your continuing support in our journey, which we believe will create long-term sustainable value for all our stakeholders. This brings me to the end of my discussion. On the eve of various festivities like Ganesh Chaturthi, Pariyushan, and Eid, we at Rosary wish you all season's greetings. Thank you all for your time, and I would now request Mansi, our CFO, to share perspectives on the financial performance for the quarter.
We would request the participants to please stay connected as the line for the management has gotten disconnected. Thank you for patiently waiting. We have the management reconnected. Ma'am, you can go ahead, please.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. This is Manasi here, CFO of the company. A warm welcome to everyone present for participating on Rosary's first earnings conference call. I hope you have had the time to go through our results presentation. Let me provide you a brief overview of the financial performance for the quarter. The quarter gone by started amidst a tough operating environment with the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic, leading to multiple lockdowns across domestic markets. While we delivered strong performance in our HPPC business, led by accelerated momentum in hygiene products and antiviral portfolio sales, broader operating constraints and slowdown in demand in the months of April and May impacted performance of our textile and AHN business during the quarter. However, as the country moved to unlock phase, we started seeing a healthy uptick in the consumption and demand, which further continued in June. Together, we reported a resilient performance in Q1 FY 2021, with revenues coming in at 109.5 crore as against 127.8 crore in Q1 FY 20. Revenues from HPPC stood at 83.5 crore, followed by textile business at 17.3 crore and AHN at 8.7 crore. On the profitability front, EBITDA stood at 23.7 crore as against 22.3 crore in Q1 FY 20. I would like to highlight here that there was a notable improvement in our EBITDA margins during the quarter. This was primarily on account of higher realizations witnessed in certain product categories and is transitionary in nature. So going forward, we expect to report normalized margins on an annual basis. Depreciation during the quarter stood at 3.8 crore. As we capitalize the Dahej facility, the depreciation charge should increase in the upcoming quarters, and this additional charge will be absorbed efficiently as we start seeing Dahej contributing to performance going forward. PAT stood at 15.5 crore as against 14.2 crore in the last Q1 FY 20. On the whole, the company's financial performance is stable, financial position is stable. Over the longer term, we will pursue all our defined strategic initiatives while always maintaining a strong financial discipline. On that note, I come to the end of our opening remarks and would request the moderator to open the forum for any operational and strategic-led questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Kiran Naik from Modi Fincap. Please go ahead.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity. Sir, my question is, who is our close competitor in India?
We have, a multiple number of competitors across various businesses which we have. So we have, always taken that we will not go headlong against any competitor. So we have niches in our businesses and which are small for our competitors.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. We would request the participants to please press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Swarnabha Mukherjee from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. So a couple of questions, sir, from my side. First of all, it would be great if you could give some color on your outlook on the textile specialty chemicals and animal and health nutrition segments, because if I look at the segmental breakup, this quarter the contribution was significantly from the home and personal care segments, while the other two I think probably have been impacted by lockdown and demand contraction. So if you could throw light on how you see the textile end user industry panning out and your basically development for the company on that side you expect over FY 21, and similar for animal health and nutrition. And second question, sir, is on the gross margin side. So as mentioned earlier, the gross margins have improved significantly this quarter, and so the normalization of EBITDA margin is expected to be driven mostly by gross margin. Would my understanding be correct?
Yes, Swarnabha, namaste. This is Sunil Chari. I will take your first question first. And regarding the textile specialty chemical and AHN business, they have done well in the month of June, and even in the month of July they have done very well. And we, expect these businesses to improve, as a percentage of our sales compared to the last quarter. So, of course, we see HPPC business to grow faster compared to the other businesses. But these two businesses also seem to come online, already. The textile specialty chemicals also in July was very good. So we are very positive and confident, all our three segments growing as per our internal budgets. Coming to gross margins, the first quarter was an exceptional quarter, because the focus on health and hygiene was the highest. Our sanitizers and disinfectants sold at a very good price. Now it was demand and supply. In the month of March, April and May, there were very few producers and we were able to get higher, market pricing. And now, coming, further, there will be a lot of new, competitors coming always. And, we are very, very happy and hopeful that we will maintain the margins as we have given, that we will be positive over the last year.
So just to follow up on both these answers. So for the whole year of FY20, would we expect the gross margin to be more or less similar to normalized levels that we have experienced earlier?
Yeah. We would be in the same. We are confident of maintaining the gross margins.
Okay. And sir, if you can give some maybe quantitative idea on the maybe how you expect to do in textile and animal health segments, whether it would be similar to what we have done last year or better than that. Any quantitative idea would be very much appreciated, sir.
Yeah, so the HPPC business would be a little higher than the as a percentage of sales. Last year we did about 47% of HPPC business. So this year we would believe that the HPPC business would grow faster, and so we see I think Mr. Edward can add a point or two here.
Yeah, actually we lost 2 months of sales for textile as well as animal health and nutrition because of complete lockdown, whereas the HPPC is now ahead by 2 months. So of course we believe that the HPPC share in the business will grow as compared to the other two businesses. However, the textile businesses seem to be normalizing. We've already reached, almost 70% of what we've done last year. So we feel that in the coming few months, this will completely normalize. Similar is the situation with animal health and nutrition. But because these two are lagging behind for the 2-month sales, we find that HPPC will have a higher share.
Okay. So just one last thing, I just wanted to follow up on your response, sir. So you mentioned 70% of in textile, 70% of pre-COVID levels. Would that be correct understanding, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for the detailed response, sir. That's all from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Suraj Patra from Phillip Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the support. This is Surya Patra. Yes, sir. So just on the business model, couple of questions, sir. Can you give us some sense what really impacted, what really led to the kind of massive growth in the home and personal care segment, and whereas the textile segment is kind of, although it has grown only at a kind of a moderated growth rate, but the massive growth rate what we have seen over last 4-year period in case of the home and personal care side. So what has led to that kind of jump in the business? And if you can provide some insight about what is the kind of practical cost component or the key raw material component for these two businesses separately. And since you mentioned that the gross margin means your raw materials are not largely led by crude or not from the crude or are not crude based, so hence may not have a major impact with the crude fluctuation. So just wanted to understand a bit more on those aspects.
Namaste Suraj ji, na aapka naam?
Surya Patra.
Surya ji, हाँ. So Surya ji, namaste. And regarding this, we have a strategy of seeding into new businesses. So the institutional cleaning chemicals and health and hygiene chemicals, we had seeded 6 years ago. And during this COVID times, the health and hygiene became a big focus area. Sanitizers and disinfectants, which we were selling for 6-7 years, suddenly took off. And because our facilities were fungible, we were able to, encash this trend. and this gave us very good higher profitability. And similarly, we are feeding into the future businesses like water treatment chemicals is something which you already mentioned, and we are starting to work on this business. Regarding the gross margins, and the crude, what we said is the crude oil pricing does not impact us much because our raw materials are based on demand and supply position of each product raw material category. So at this moment, if you see the crude has gone from 130 up to 130 and come down to 35, and our gross margins have been very steady. So we going forward, we are also hopeful of maintaining these kind of gross margins.
Okay. So in fact, the home, personal and the performance chemical segment, so I was trying to understand the annual progress, what we have seen over last 4 years. Say, for example, like in FY18, it was 55 crore. In the subsequent year, it became 195. In FY20 to 80 odd crores. So what is really driving this? See, possibly first quarter could have been because of the kind of a COVID-related opportunity what you would have achieved. But otherwise, in the previous 3 years, what really led to such a surprising 94% kind of a CAGR growth what we have witnessed over last 4-year period? What has really led to that?
As we said, seeding has been done in the past six years, and we have a lot of good customers which we have already explained to you, Unilever and a lot of other customers which have come in, and these have all grown very well, and that is why the home personal care and performance chemical market is much bigger than our existing segments of textile specialty chemicals and animal and nutrition. And because it is a big market, even if we get a small share in that market, for us the incremental growth is very big, and that is why you see good. And going forward also, it will be the major driver of our growth.
Okay, so that means in the last 4 years, the revenue mix, the way it has changed, from like textile, which was like 80% plus, and the home personal care was 16%. Now it is almost equal, 40, 46, 44, like that. So let's say with the full capacity what you are targeting, FY21, after that, what is the kind of revenue mix that you can see? Whether the home personal care segment will see a kind of leadership position with, let's say, 60, 65, 70, something like that in terms of revenue mix?
I'm not able to, time. You cannot time the market. We cannot time our percentage of how much each business will do. But we are sure that the HPPC business will do better than the other businesses.
Okay. Just last one question, if you allow me.
Yes, sir.
In fact, see, is it possible to understand, sir, your key 4 chemistries? That's silicon chemistry, acrylic, and surfactants enzymes. So, what is the revenue mix, annual revenue mix of last year, let's say, among these chemistries?
Sir, these revenue mix we do not calculate. What we do is we do not digress from these 4 chemistries. So, our platform are these 4 chemistries, because earlier when we started our textile specialty chemical business, 4 chemistries were used. When we decided to diversify in 2008-2009, we, as a strategy, limited our businesses with these 4 chemistries. So the next business that we went into was animal health and nutrition. The animal health and nutrition had a lot of enzymes that were sold in that, and we used to do a lot of enzyme business in textiles. So both the businesses were similar, the raw materials were similar, so we ventured into the animal health and nutrition. And our basic idea was just like Mr. Chari said in the beginning, that we don't go head on with ingredient suppliers. Although we manufacture our own ingredients, we do not sell ingredients as ingredients, we sell them as formulations. We formulate them, we add some value to the ingredients, and then we sell them. So what happens is, in the animal health and nutrition business, we went in with enzymes, and when we diversified into other formulations. Similarly, when we started the industrial cleaning and home and personal care, again, Surfactants was our major strength, and silicones were our major strength in textiles. Both these are actually very related to home and personal care. The detergents that go into cleaning, the type of chemicals which go into surface cleaning, into industrial cleaning, they are all based on surfactants, and many of them also require silicones in the formulations. So the idea here is to say that these 4 chemistries are the platform on which we work. But there is no calculation in-house where we do a separation of the businesses with respect to our chemistries.
Okay. So then just a related question, sir, since most of your business is application development and you don't generally prefer selling the ingredients, but are you really integrated? If yes, then what percentage of your business will be integrated backwards?
Sir, I'm not able to understand your question. Can you please repeat your question? What do you mean by integration?
So, do you what is it is just a kind of since you market the products, these are like application-based products. So, the raw materials what you procure, it is the early intermediate for your application. It is just a conversion from a couple of steps to conversion from the raw materials, so far as applications are concerned.
So like I explained, that we manufacture a whole lot of ingredients that go into our formulations, right? However, as I said, we do not sell our ingredients per se, because the textile specialty chemicals business as well as the home and personal care business are all dependent on application. Even the animal health and nutrition is dependent on the growth, on the weight, and on the lifespan of the poultry or of the cattle. So all the businesses that we are in at the present moment, you take water treatment, you take pulp and paper, you take paints and coating, all of them are application based. It is not a pharmacopoeia or a cap number kind of a business.
Okay. Fine, sir. Thank you and congratulations on the great IPO.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ankit Kaur from Systematix Shares and Stock Brokers. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, sir. Sir, my question is regards to overall, what is the current mix within HPC, if you can elaborate that. And, after Dahej ramp up, what would be mix? Will it be more towards, will it be, squeezed towards detergent? So, or if yes, then what sort of, application we are actually looking at Dahej? My second question with regards to, sir, we also created a subsidiary. If you can give us some update on, what sort of capacity we'll have. Sorry if you have given in DRHP, I must have missed, but what sort of capacity, we will be setting up in that subsidiary, and what is the status now? Thank you.
Ankit ji, namaste. This is Sunil Chari. HPC business, we do not have, we do not look at each segment separately in terms of disclosures to the market. So we have, no broad, bifurcation in terms of different businesses within that business. As a broad, we calculate it as a broad single business. The Dahej capacity is 132,500. The Rossari personal care capacity would be part of the HPC business, and there is no separate bifurcation, of this capacity in the business because it is fungible. We cannot have, only one. The same lines which can be used for personal care can be used for textile or for, home and home care or other performance chemicals.
But, sir, for P&L purpose, obviously P&L will be a separate. But for that purpose, we would have demarcated certain plant or something in that perspective. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Ankit ji, the manufacturing will be done in Rossari Biotech Limited, and then the Rossari Personal Care would be a subsidiary which is just like something like a marketing organization. So the manufacturing continues to remain in Rossari Biotech Limited.
Okay, and my first, coming to first question, where if you can give us a broad application for the time being. I really respect that you don't want to give a breakup or you consider them as a one basket. But broad application base, that will be helpful, sir. Just application.
See, we go into soaps and detergents. We go into big categories like personal care. We go to paint, ceramic, paper, water treatment. So there are many. These are 6-7 sub businesses within the business.
And the major would be how much, sir? Probably. And
major we do not have a breakup, and we would like to keep this confidential in terms of we can have formulations and ingredients which are equally poised normally in our sales.
Okay, so consider Dahej will have a larger application base, and that would certainly improve our overall EBITDA per kg or the gross margin per kg. Would it be fair to assume that way, sir?
Eventually, after a couple of years, but at this moment, we would, we are hopeful of, maintaining this 16 to 18% EBITDA level margins which we have shown in the past year.
Right. Sir, my question. Sorry if you have answered this. 1Q was pretty robust, and the demand is, mainly came from the sanitizers and cleaning. How's 2Q look like? Till now. Was there a demand from sanitizer was equally robust, or was there any taperment or any pickup in other applications? If you can give us a brief demand scenario outlook.
At a broad level, we are normalizing now. So we are normalizing as per having a positive trend over the last year. I do not have specific figures because we have just started the into the midway into the second quarter.
Okay, so when we say normalization is the normalization of overall demand as well as the margins, or how it is, or the margins will remain. Sorry, you said margins will remain where it is now. The normalization of demand is there, right?
So the first quarter was exceptional, because we had higher sales of higher margin products. Now we'll normalize as we given in our press release and the presentation. We are hopeful, of achieving, a positive, growth over the last year.
Okay, sir. Last question from my side. Any outlook or probably how is the performance of Rossari Brazil? That will be helpful. Thank you.
Rossari, अंकित जी क्या बोले अभी आपने?
Brazil sir, Brazil वाला जो अपना है.
हाँ, so the BRPL is our subsidiary for institutional cleaning chemicals that did amazingly well in the first quarter, and we see a positive tempo in that business also.
Okay, sir. On a 6 monthly basis, will we have the balance sheet of subsidiaries as well, or we have to decide that?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Ankit ji.
Thank you. We would request the participants to please limit your questions to per participant. The next question is from the line of Naushad Chaudhary from Systematix Shares and Stock Brokers. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity and congrats on a decent set of numbers. Follow up on the Ankit question, same on the HPPC segment. This quarter we have clocked around 84 crore rupees of revenue, and as you mentioned, some portion of the revenue would be from the products which we might see getting fade once this pandemic goes off. So if you can highlight what portion of your 84 crore rupees of revenue you might not see in the coming quarters once things get normalized.
Now, Naushad ji, this is a new normal. If you go out now, you can see sanitizer out of every door you enter. There is a sanitizer present. So you go anywhere. I'd gone in the morning outside, and everywhere wherever you touch, you use a sanitizer. So this is something which is going to be here always now. Not now, not in the next quarter. It will stay forever.
Okay.
So, what I believe is that the demand has been built up now. So the demand might taper a bit, but the margins will stabilize. The margins will normalize. So the demand, I wouldn't say will not be there, but since we got the first mover advantage because of our fungible manufacturing capability, we were able to supply in the first 2-3 months good quantity of products. However, now once the demand has been built up, a lot of manufacturers will enter the market, and therefore, the share of the market that we got in the first 3 months, we may see a tapering of that share of the market, and the margins will stabilize. That's how we look at it for the future.
Okay. Would you be comfortable in terms of, would you be having a ready number how much of revenue we would have, generated from this segment in this quarter?
No, we consider HPPC में cleaning chemicals में everything is coming. Cleaning में अभी सबके घर पे cleaning बढ़ ही गया है ना, मतलब everybody wants to clean your hands, so that also is part of our HPPC. Disinfectant is part of the HPPC. Sanitizer is part of the HPPC. So in cleaning chemicals, all cleaning has improved. Hand wash has improved, surface cleaning has improved, dishwash has improved. So really speaking, the demand has built up. However, as I said, now number of suppliers will also increase, and therefore the share that we got in the first 3 months is going to taper a bit, and the margins also will stabilize. That's how we look at it. But since you are asking for breakup of disinfectant, sanitizer, and cleaning chemicals, that seems to be a little bit difficult to answer.
Okay. Second thing, on the margin side, sir, you mentioned in HPC there was some benefit of the prices because of the demand supply scenario. But as I believe it's our specialized business, and we cater to large brands and institutions. So just wondering, does it work like this? We get the benefit of these kind of situations from these high brand quality customers?
No, sir, all our customers, are big FMCG players, and these are big, vast distribution networks, and have a loyal set of customers. So this kind of businesses will continue, and we believe the consumption of sanitizers is here to stay, and disinfectants is here to stay.
No, sir. I'm talking about in terms of getting the price benefit because of the demand supply scenario, which has helped us to get the margin. So we are working with very large brands in our HPPC segment, and does these kind of scenarios also give us an opportunity to get a benefit of price and get the good margin?
We are, as you said, we are hopeful of maintaining the EBITDA margins of 16 to 18%. So this will normalize over or stabilize over a period of time.
Thank you. Naushad, we would request you to please come back in the question queue for any follow-up questions, as we have several participants waiting for their turn. Also, we would request the participants to please limit your questions to 2 per participant. The next question is from the line of Samir Narayanan from Invesco. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Sunilji, could you just give us some understanding as to we are going to increase the capacity to almost double by next year, correct?
हाँ जी समीर जी.
So अब उसमें if you could just tell us that since you said that things are fungible, so is there any rollover cost or delay in terms of, for example, if suddenly there's a demand spot for something through the HPPC or TSC or AHN, will it require time, or how fungible or flexible? Is there any cost or time delay?
Totally fungible, no extra cost, no extra time. वेसल है जो बर्तन जैसे हम बताते हैं कि चाय बना सकते हैं, खीर बना सकते हैं, उसमें दाल बना सकते हैं, राइस बना सकते हैं, पायसम बना सकते हैं, अवियल बना सकते हैं, सब बना सकते हैं. मेरे कोई टेंशन ही नहीं है.
Perfect. So how should we look at it? For example, if right now we are saying at 120 crores kind of a top line. So this thing, if the capacity is available next year, so do you think that this should probably be looking at a 20-25% kind of a revenue growth?
At this moment, it all depends on different circumstances. So we are not able to, predict the exact amount of, growth, but we are positive that we will, grow well in the coming years, coming quarters and coming years.
So we have actually planned for a capacity utilization in the next 3 to 4 years. That is the way we have planned the new facility at Dahej.
Okay. And how much do you see that the exit utilization of Dahej is likely to be, say, by FY 22 or 23?
I mean, you can divide it by 4 years and you can have a look at it. So approximately we think that within 3-4 or a little bit more, probably we will be able to utilize that capacity. That is the idea. Because, Silvassa mein, we had really very high capacity utilization and it was untenable for the time being. And we are at the right time with an expansion in capacity. Some amount of capacity will have to be taken to Silvassa, to Dahej from Silvassa to debottleneck Silvassa basically and reduce the strain on that manufacturing unit. So I think if you add that rollover, probably 3 to 4 years is a time in which we should be able to utilize that capacity.
Okay. And last thing, Edward sir, now since you mentioned water treatment chemicals, so by when do you think we'll be able to see some build up in that in terms of a revenue stream, like how right now we have HPPC, TSC and EHN. So water treatment कब तक थोड़ा reasonable हो सकता है?
So actually the water treatment chemicals, we have already seeded this business in the last year. And the sales and marketing team is now on the field. Unfortunately, because of this unprecedented situation, it was not able to kickstart this year, basically. Now that things are opening up, we believe that this year's budget that we had taken, we will be able to do that budget. So this year you will see some sales from water treatment chemicals for sure. We've already begun sales, small amount of sales, but this year for sure it will contribute to the HPPC business.
Okay. Thank you, sir, and wish you all the best.
Thank you, Sunil. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Udit Jain from Karvy Research. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for taking my question and many congratulations on your listing.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to understand the segment level EBITDA margins. I've seen you've not disclosed it in your presentation. Would it be possible for you to disclose your segment level? Look like?
We do not have, businesses-wise margins because the facilities are fungible. Raw materials are common, personnel is common, infrastructure is common, dispatch, invoicing, purchase is common. So it is not possible for us to, work out businesses-wise margins.
Okay, understood. But then when we look at your 3 to 4 year, margin improvement and then kind of, overlay it with the increase in HPCC segment, contribution to the revenues, is it, and let me know if I'm wrong, does not that imply that your HPCC segment margins are slightly superior versus other segments?
The highest margins we have is in the animal health and nutrition, business. HPPC also has good margins and better than the textile specialty chemicals margins, and that is why you have seen margin improvements in the past years. But going forward, it will depend on our, businesses mix in our business.
Understood. And sir, one last question on the raw material side. I was trying to understand which are the key raw materials which are slightly more, kind of have a significant portion under your COGS.
Uditji, as a group, surfactants is the biggest one, and as a single raw material, acrylic acid is one which we use, in very big quantities. Acetic acid also we use in very good quantities. Acrylic acid is imported now from, LG, from BASF, from many other suppliers. But now also BPCL is starting production in India, hopefully in the next quarter. So we will have, local availability of raw materials. Our imports, which is already very less, need it reduce further.
Okay, understood. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Vijay.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sunil Jain from Nirmal Bang Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, congratulations on good numbers in trying time. Sir, my question relates to more of a capacity utilization in Q1 or maybe June month, if you can share.
So in Q1, our capacity utilization was lower than 50%. In Q2, it is picking up, and we believe that, like I said, the textile business has already reached about 70% of last year's business. So we feel that in Q2 the capacity utilization will go above 65%. That's how we look at it.
Okay. So Q2, we may not be able to see full recovery, you mean to say?
No, it depends. It depends on how the textile units open up and how the animal health and business goes. We are confident that the textile business will pick up because all the three have shown very good traction. Although HPPC has shown more traction, but animal health and textile has shown excellent traction. So I think in a couple of months, both these businesses also will normalize.
Okay. And just a housekeeping question. This capacity which you had started already, you said that it will come in full stream by year end. So in the current year, how much capacity will be available for production, and how much will be available in the next year?
So we are looking at 30,000 tons additional capacity in this year from the Dahej project, and in the next year another similar amount, because our incremental thing will start. I mean, final project will be completed in March 21. March 21. Yeah. So therefore, we think, as I said, the capacity utilization will take 3 to 4 years to be completed. Yeah.
Okay. And since your production full-fledged capacity utilization will come towards the end, whether depreciation and all related to this capacity will start from Q2 or it will again be in the next year only?
Yes, sir. Actually, we will start capitalizing as and when the Dahej project is ready. We'll start. We have already started capitalizing. So depreciation will start from Q2.
Okay, fine.
It will be in the phased manner, of course. As and when it is ready, we'll start capitalizing.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sunil.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Aditya Khetan from East India Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir, and thanks for the opportunity. Sir, my first question is, sir, what is the capitalized amount of depreciation in Q1? And on QOQ basis, so the employee cost has fallen by 22%. Have we capitalized some amount here also?
For us as a company, we have been always, forward-looking in terms of, giving good incentives to our sales team. And in this quarter, the sales were less and the incentives were less, and hence, the salary amount, look, but as a percentage of sales, the amount is the same as the last quarter. And
okay. And sir, the capitalized amount of depreciation in Q1?
Sir, we have started capitalizing Dahej in phased manner. So some maybe around total 15% of total cost we have already capitalized, and we'll be capitalizing in the parts. So some amount of depreciation has already come in the last year, March 20, and now it will start coming again from Q2.
Okay. And sir, we are into the manufacturing of sanitizers. So can I get how much percentage of revenues so sanitizers would be of the HPPC business? Just a broad idea.
A breakup, of how much sanitizers is sold, because that is also part of our competitive strategy, and so I'm not able to, share the exact percentage. But आप तो आपके ऑफिस में हमारा सैनिटाइजर यूज करें आदित्य जी.
Okay, sir. And sir, just one last question, sir. So the post-IPO, we had seen a stellar run in the stock price. So I would like to know, sir, what is so different in Rossari Biotech as compared to the big specialty players like RP and SRF? Why should the Rossari Biotech should command a higher valuation as compared to the other specialty companies? What is your outlook on this, sir?
आदित्य जी, मैं तो इंजीनियर हूँ, आप एनालिसिस करते हो, आप बताना चाहिए क्या हो रहा है. हमको तो हम लोग कैसे बता पाएंगे?
No, sir, because on the valuation part, what we believe that so you are commanding a valuation of almost double the times as compared to the other specialty chemical companies. So that was I was wondering. So what is so different in Rossari Biotech as compared to other companies?
देखिए हम लोग है ना अभी तक हमने ये समझा है कि केमिकल कैसा बनाना ना ये समझते हैं मार्केट प्राइसिंग और मार्केट वैल्यूएशन इज समथिंग व्हिच यू शुड बी एबल टू गाइड अस वी वुड बी एट अ लॉस टू गाइड यू ऑन मार्केट प्राइसिंग एंड वैल्यूएशन
Thank you. Aditya, we would request you to please come back in the question queue for any follow-up questions. The next question is from the line of Gaurav Hinduja from GEPL Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for taking my question and congratulations. My question was broadly on the exports part of your business. So what percentage of revenues are we seeing as exports, and structurally are we seeing a tailwind for India being a select supplier for specialty chemicals, especially in the personal care category? So what are your views on that front?
As a part, percentage is, about 10 to 11% is our exports business. And going forward, we are hopeful of maintaining. We have good inquiries for home and personal care in performance chemicals, as well as animal nutrition, and also textile specialty chemicals for exports. We are looking at, various markets. So we believe, exports will continue to keep pace with the domestic market in terms of growth.
Okay. And do you think this will be sustainable from a long-term 5-year horizon, sustaining the exports growth?
Yes, we expect, we expect in future also 10 to 11%, should be exports. But we are focused on the domestic market because the domestic market size is huge, and we have, a lot of miles to cover still.
Okay, got it. And when we'll be looking at incremental capex, I mean, like for further capacity addition, is there any planned roadmap for that besides the Dahej capex that's already planned?
So we have nothing, big plan for the next year, next financial year. It will all depend on how the growth happens in the next few quarters.
Okay, thank you. That's it from my end.
Thank you, Gaurav.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amol Kotak from Max Life Insurance. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You are.
Ha, Amolji. So we can hear you.
Yes. So on this JV, you plan to buy the balance percentage of stake. Could you spell out how much could be the outflow?
The Budul Rossari JV?
Yes.
It will not be a very substantial amount.
Okay. And so you mentioned that it did very well in Q1. So could you spell out some numbers on that?
As you know, this is the Budul Rossari is part of the competitive information which you're not able to divulge exact figures of each business segment. But it has done much better than last year. And the institutional cleaning chemicals has a big future in India. And the last 2 years we have seeded in that business, and we hope to reap the profits in the coming quarters.
So one question is on the capacity utilization. So in FY20, what was the capacity utilization for the company as a whole?
83% was our capacity utilization in FY20.
And Q1 you said it was less than
51% was our capacity utilization in Q1.
Okay, so you intend to, given that sequentially things are picking up, your utilization level should be almost compared to last year, similar compared to last year.
It is because we have added very big capacity, in Silvassa also, in Dahej also. So, we expect, there will be growth over the last year, but the capacity utilization will depend on how much growth we actually do.
I was talking net of additions, you should surpass the capacity utilization of last year.
Last year, we had 100,000 tons as our capacity, and this year, we have added 20,000 tons at Silvassa. We added about 30,000 tons at, Dahej. So this is 50% added capacity utilization, added capacity already. compared to last year, it will not be 83%, but it will be substantially, in terms of tonnage, it will be more than last year.
Okay. So one question is on the margin front. While you guided that sanitizer business should continue to do well, and at the same time your guidance is now like 18%. Could you spell out the disconnect, because you've done reasonably well in the first quarter? So is it being conservative, or what is driving this margin down?
First quarter was an exceptional quarter because there were not many suppliers in the market. The market pricing was high. We expect the margins to normalize, and that is why we gave a broad confidence in maintaining 16 to 18% EBITDA margins.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anupam Agarwal from Lucky Investment. Please go ahead.
Yes, good evening. Thank you for taking my question, sir.
Good evening, Anupam.
And sir, given the challenges we have seen from the textile businesses and animal husbandry sector in the first 2 months of the quarter, are we seeing any challenges in collections or receivables from those companies?
No, sir. Actually, we were able to collect very good amount during the first quarter also, during this period also. So the number of debtors levels are almost similar to what we had in the past.
So on a long basis, we will, on FY20 basis, we will be able to sustain the working capital we've enjoyed in the last year as well.
Definitely.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Aman Vij from Astute Investment. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Aman Vij.
My first question is on the HPPC business. Could you tell us a little bit about the client concentration there? Like top 10 customers contribute how much to our business?
55%, is a concentration of the top 10 customers for us.
That is for overall company or only HPPC business?
Overall. We do not have, for each businesses, but this is for overall.
Okay, but are there any big players in HPPC business, or is it fairly diversified for us?
It is fairly diversified.
Okay, sir. And on the second question is on the AHN business. Could you tell us about the capacity additions we are planning over the next 2-3 years, and where do you see this business?
As you already said, that the businesses are fungible. So the capacity is fungible. And this we were able to prove in the last quarter when the HPPC business, was, practically 80% of our total, production. So we have not specifically chosen any particular business for capacity addition.
But I am talking more in terms of last 2 years we have done 50-55 crore of sales. But next 2-3 years, where do you see this business becoming?
We see a healthy growth because the poultry industry and the pet industry where we are present are both good industries and growing well. The markets are doing well, and even the aqua industry, which we plan to enter in this year, is a good industry which is growing very well. So we expect to grow also in animal nutrition.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Aman.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rohit Nagraj from Sunidhi Securities. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity, and congrats for good numbers amidst challenging environment. So one question is just bookkeeping question. So at the end of the quarter, what has been the cash on the books post our IPO and repayment of debt? What would be the cash on the books?
Post IPO, sir, now we have repaid all our debts, and it is around post IPO it is around 85 crores cash on the books.
Okay, thank you. And so in terms of strategy, so from a maybe 3 to 5 year perspective, what is the kind of growth that we are envisaging, and which are the focus areas? Because textiles, it seems that we are the largest player, so the growth would be relatively at a moderate pace. However, on the other two segments, there can be good growth opportunity. So what is the strategy from the management over a 3 to 5 year perspective?
As a company, we are optimistic on our future growth prospects, and that is why we put, nearly 150% new capacity in this year. And in the next few years, we are hopeful of, filling this entire capacity.
Right. I'm talking on a broader basis. So which are the segments wherein we are looking at in terms of growth? So is it primarily on HPPC, or it will be animal health, nutrition, and maybe textiles will be a moderate growth?
Rohitji, actually, we are focusing across all our three businesses to grow all the three businesses, and there is very good traction in animal health and HPPC. Textile business, because we are already the dominant player. We are the number one player in India, and our aim is to be the dominant player in India. And therefore, we don't see a 50% or 100% growth in this industry. However, in the other two industries that we are, in other two businesses that we work, there is good traction, and we think that they will drive growth in the future.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Just last one clarification on raw materials. So you said that acrylic acid probably will be available from BPCL from next quarter. So what kind of benefit we will be expecting due to domestic sourcing instead of importing it?
We are not the pricing is in the hands of BPCL, so we are not able to gauge or estimate the amount of savings which can be there. But we hope to be it will be more competitive than the imports.
Thanks a lot and best of luck, sir.
Thank you, Rohitji.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anirudh Shetty from Solidarity Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for taking my question. So my first question was, both our facilities today at peak, how much sales would we be able to generate?
Anirudh ji, हमको सुनाई नहीं दिया आप. Can you please repeat?
Sorry, I'll repeat my question. From our manufacturing facilities today that we have, what would be the peak revenue potential?
So, for us it is 6x of our, whatever it is, the asset turn. So total put together should be in the range of 1,300 crore rupees or higher.
1,300 crores. Okay. And do we have ability to expand further in Dahej beyond what we have already?
Yes, Anirudh ji, Dahej is a 14 plus acre plot which we have completely developed, and since all utilities and other amenities are already in place, with a very small investment, we will be able to almost double capacity whenever required.
Got it. And just wanted to get a sense of indicatively what would the market size be for all the products that you're in, the products that you all are doing today that you all have in R&D. Would you give a sense of what could the market opportunity be?
The HPPC business, the market size is in excess of 1 lakh crore. The textile specialty chemicals, the market size is in excess of 5,000, 6,000 crores in India itself. Animal nutrition, the market size is in the excess of 10,000 crore rupees. So we are focused on these segments in these businesses, and you could gauge. We are trying to target niches which are profitable in each of these businesses.
Got it. Actually, where I was coming from is, we are targeting niches that, are probably larger competitors aren't doing today. So at, what point, at what scale would we be, we have that headroom to grow before we, start competing with them directly?
So we keep seeding into new niches. So water treatment, ceramic, paper, the potential to seed within our 4 core chemistries and adjacent chemistries of these 4 chemistries is very, very large.
Okay. So you see the opportunity to keep finding niches that will allow you all to keep growing beyond what you all are doing currently.
Yes.
Okay. And just my final question is, we also have a B2C segment in our animal segment. So just wanted to understand what is the market opportunity there and how much will we be looking to spend to grow that business?
We are primarily a B2B, which we say we are 0.5 away from B2C. So in terms of pet, the board has not sanctioned big amounts for us for promotion. So retail is not a focus area. We'll continue to grow, more in the B2B segment. But pet is again a very big opportunity. The market is more than 1,000 crores and growing 25% year on year.
Okay, so the board currently hasn't sanctioned a big amount, but if we are investing in this business, do we see this becoming a big segment at some point in time? If we feel we're doing well there.
Yeah, it will grow. It will grow at because the base is smaller. It will grow at very good percentage of growth. But as amount of sales in the total thing, it will be smaller than other businesses.
Okay. Thank you. That's it from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rumchum Jain from Nirmal Bang Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity and congratulations to the management for good set of numbers. Most of the questions have been answered. So just in the start of the con call, you have said that these EBITDA margins for the quarter are not are on the higher side and like to normalize. So your normalized guidance for the year is around 16 to 18%. Is it right?
Yes.
Can you give any guidance about the animal health business, the status of that? Like you said, for the textile, it is already 70% of last year's level. So any color on the animal health business also?
The animal nutrition business, is a bigger market, potential business than textile chemicals also. So it should do well in the year.
So what I mean to ask is whether it is back
happening in the
so is it back on the in terms of growth? It is back on track.
No, I got your question. Yes. So the animal health and nutrition is even more back on track than textile business. So it is even crossed the 70% mark.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the last question. I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
So we are thankful to all of you for taking out your time. I hope we have been able to answer all your questions satisfactorily. Should you need any further clarifications or would like to know more about the company, please feel to contact our team or CDR India. Thank you once again for taking the time to join us on this call.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Axis Capital, that concludes today's conference call. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.
Thank you.